Part 5. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 41. The surrounding scenery was still blurry under the gray rain. After saying goodbye to his seniors, Raku Sakakihara held up an umbrella and walked home with his silent sister. The heavy rain made the air feel chilly. It was around 10 o'clock in the night, and the neon lights on the streets of Tokyo began to flash. The colors of street lights and billboards on the wet road became more and more dazzling. From time to time, cars speed by on the road around me, and the sound of splashing water can be heard in my ears. The guest has been waiting for a long time. You ordered takoyaki. How much? Chinjui 1,200 yen. Sakakibara put away his umbrella, took out a banknote and 2 coins from his wallet, and while handing over the money, he caught the steaming octopus balls. The top of the takoyaki is sprinkled with bonito flowers and cheese, and even on a rainy day when the air is cold, there is a faint aroma. Raku Sakakibara turned around and handed the freshly baked takoyaki in his hand to Suzu Sakakibara, who was still sulking in front of him. Here, take it and consider it as an apology. Smelly Lele Sakakibara, Suzu muttered in an extremely low voice, then grabbed the takoyaki in his hand, picked up a toothpick and inserted one into his mouth. Be careful of burning, Sakakibara warned subconsciously. I didn't know you could see the side of the sound room. It's your fault anyway. Okay, my bad. Seeing her angry look now, and thinking of her blushing expression when she said she liked Ni-chan just now, Sakakihara Raku couldn't help but laugh. Still laughing? Don't laugh, Sakakibara. Suzu was very sensitive to his smile now. She held the unfinished takoyaki in her mouth, puffed her face, and stepped on his shoes. Okay, then I won't laugh anymore. Sakakihara Raku, Sakakihara Ren almost broke her voice. Sorry, I accidentally couldn't hold it back. Seeing Aling's eyes turn red instantly, Sakakibara quickly stopped smiling. When he stopped thinking and looked at his sister again, he found that the corners of Sakakihara Suzu's eyes were filled with crystal moisture. She stared at him with trembling eyes for a long time, then turned around decisively, not wanting to see him again. Really angry? Ailing, are you okay? Sakakihara shook her shoulders gently from behind, kept calling her nickname, and wanted to look at her face many times. But every time he poked his head in, Sakakibara Suzu would look away, let alone her expression. Sakakibara Raku hadn't even seen her profile. She didn't even eat her favorite takoyaki, she just held it in her hands. Sakakibara looked at her little back in school uniform, thinking that he wouldn't really make his sister cry, would he? The last time I made her cry was a long time ago. To be clear, he is not the kind of person who likes to see girls cry. But as the brother who has watched her since childhood, he has quite complicated emotions about Aling crying. First, I just think it's funny and interesting. I don't know if it's a bad taste shared by brothers all over the world to like to see my sister cry in front of me. The second thing is that after finding it interesting, you will still feel a little distressed. Are you really crying? Sakakihara put down his hand and looked at the white back of her neck and asked. Whoever cried? I didn't cry. Such a small thing is nothing. A slightly choked voice came from the back of Sakakihara Suzu. Tough talk. Sakakihara smiled at her back. I don't have a hard mouth. The air was silent for a long time, and the only sounds of rain and cars on the street could be heard. Aling. What? Do not be angry. I'm not angry. Sakakihara Suzu did not turn around to look at him. Brother, you didn't do it on purpose. I went in to take a look after Miss Yoshihara said it wouldn't affect your work. But, the voice turned from louder to softer, and Sakakibara Suzu's shoulders dropped slightly, leaving only her back, as if she was speaking angrily, but you heard it. It doesn't matter if you hear me. the relationship between us won't change anything just because of 2 words. Then you still laugh at me and keep laughing. No, Raku Sakakihara smiled lightly, I really didn't laugh at you, I just thought you were cute. Don't you often say you are cute in front of me? That's all because dash. Sakakihara Suzu turned around suddenly, with tears in her eyes, and raised her little face to stare up at him with red eyes. But as soon as the words came to her lips, she suddenly stopped talking, and she didn't even know what she should say. She said she wasn't crying. Raku Sakakihara smiled at Suzu, wanting to comfort her. I just didn't cry. Stinky brother, stinky brother, stinky brother, stinky brother. After closing her red eyes, Suzu Sakakibara yelled a few words about stinky old man, then grabbed the umbrella in his hand, holding the takoyaki that she hadn't eaten even 2 bites, and quickly turned around and walked towards the other end of the street in the rain. Run. Soon, her back disappeared from Sakakibara's sight. Sakakibara smiled. He knew Sakakihara Suzu very well. She just needed some time to be alone now, so don't worry. Raku Sakakihara raised his head, his gaze passing over the eaves of the street, staring at the drizzle falling between the high-rise buildings onto the street. The rain was so heavy that not a few pedestrians could be seen on the street, and ordinary figures became blurred in the falling rain curtain. Sakakihara looked at the rain happily, feeling a little dazed. He suddenly realized a problem. The umbrella was snatched away by Aling. How are you going to get home now? When Sakakihara Raku saw Suzu again, it was at the door of his house. She squatted in the corridor of the apartment and slowly scrolled through her phone. Next to her were an open umbrella and a takoyaki box with only a toothpick left. The fluorescence of the mobile phone screen illuminated her beautiful face, and now it seemed that her eyes were not as red as before. Now that she has finished eating, it means her anger has subsided. Sakakihara Raku, who had some rainwater on his body, came to squat in front of her, put his hands on his knees, smiled and said to her, "Do you feel better now? If you're still angry, I can apologize to you again." Knowing that he was coming, Sakakihara Suzu turned off the phone screen, leaned her back against the wall and whispered, "Then apologize." "I'm sorry," Suzu Sakakibara said with a sincere tone and smiled, "Is this okay?" "Not enough." Sakakibara moistened his throat again, "I'm sorry, Suzu, I shouldn't have just peeked at your work." After being quiet for a while, Sakakihara Suzu puffed up her cheeks and raised her head again. Her red eyes had not completely subsided, and now she looked like a little girl who had just become sulky. "Smelly Lele." Sakakihara didn't care that she said he was happy, and reached out to touch her head. "Isn't this good? Be happy." "Don't touch my head." Sakakihara Suzu lowered her head again and muttered in a low voice. "Okay, I won't touch it anymore." Sakakibara laughed and retracted his hand. "You haven't eaten dinner yet. As a second apology for accidentally overhearing your work, what do you want to eat tonight? Your brother gave it to you. Do." Sakakihara Suzu lowered her head and mumbled twice. "What?" Sakakihara Raku didn't hear clearly. "Beef curry rice and passion fruit ice powder made for lunch." "Both of these?" "No." Sakakibara Suzu held her legs with both hands and looked at him with resentful eyes. "Okay. If you want to eat it, I'll make it for you. But I've run out of passion fruit, so I'll buy it for you when I go out." Sakakibara put the shoulder bag he brought from school on the ground, and took out the key and handed it over. She said, "Here, take it. I knew you didn't want to disturb their sleep, so I squatted here playing with my phone and didn't knock on the door." "What are you giving me the key for?" Sakakihara Suzu raised her head and looked at him. "Open the door for yourself, I'll go out and buy passion fruit." "Do you really want to go to the supermarket?" "What else?" Sakakibara smiled, "don't say I don't care about you. Besides Mom, the person who has known you the longest is me, isn't it?" I am your brother. Just tell me what you want to eat. Stretch out your hand. Come out. Sakakihara Suzu stretched out her hand blankly and took the key from him. The lights in the corridor were slightly dark in the middle of the night, but Suzu Sakakihara could still clearly see a small dolphin on the keychain in her hand that had its pulp worn to the point of turning white. Sakakihara Suzu's red eyes glanced twice at the little dolphin. Okay, Raku Sakakibara stood up with his hands on his knees and said to his sister below, then I'm going downstairs, don't squat here all the time, go inside quickly, it's raining outside, be careful of catching a cold. Also, remember to always bring an umbrella. I might forget one day and you will be angry with me again. I know, Sakakihara Suzu, who was squatting at the door, just hugged her legs again and nodded lightly. After Sakakibara Raku walked downstairs, Sakakibara Suzu stretched out her right hand again. In her hand was the keychain Sakakihara Raku had just handed her. The little dolphin on top of the keychain had half of its dorsal fin broken off due to wear and tear, and only a bare rod was left of its crescent-shaped tail fin. It looked ugly and desolate, and it was something that should have been thrown away long ago. With the white dim light falling from the top of the corridor, Sakakihara Suzu's eyes were fixed on the top for a long time. She pursed her lips, hugged her knees with her hands again, buried her head, listened to the sound of rain, and murmured in an inaudible voice. Why do you still keep it? The rain was still falling, and in the long and narrow corridor of the apartment, only a white light was on overhead. Suzu Sakakihara, who was huddled in the corner and hugging her legs, was talking to herself in a voice that no one could hear. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 42. On Saturday morning, Raku Sakakihara got up early as usual. He opened the window, put his hands on the window and let his mind go. Seabirds fly over the blue sea of Tokyo Bay. In the morning after the rain, the air is fresher than imagined. Let's go for a run. After putting on his old sneakers and short sportswear, Sakakihara spent 5 minutes doing a simple wash. Today's goal is just 5 kilometers. He couldn't run for long yet and had to go home to prepare breakfast. If it were my previous life, I would have gotten up and exercised in my previous life. All life is for exercise. Because of this, as a native city dweller, I was a little uncomfortable when I was reborn in the Japanese countryside. Unintelligible language, strange etiquette, vegetables and potatoes for every meal. The villagers are quite friendly and visit often, but that's about it. The most vivid memory of Raku Sakakibara was when his father carried him, who was less than 1 year old, to the fields to dig soil. It was summer at that time, and the sun was blazing in the sky. After 2 hours, my father almost died from the sun. My mother even had a quarrel with him because of this. In the end, the mother was forced to return to her parents' home, leaving the cheap father to compromise. Alas, talking too much brings tears to my eyes. From that moment on, Sakakihara Raku understood that his father in this life was completely unreliable. Now I don't know where he went. If one day he could remember that he still had several blood-related family members, he didn't know if he would come back to visit. Raku Sakakihara shook off his hands, smoothed his hair in front of the mirror, and walked out of the bathroom. Good morning. 7 Sakakibara saw the girl smiling at him and immediately took back what he was about to say, Kururi. Tianhaijuli Yulai was only wearing a very loose beige t-shirt, her face was slightly red, her long flaxen hair was hanging down her shoulders, the soft curve from her neck to her collarbone was as white as snow, and her chest moved slightly with her breathing. It's quite solid, and you can see the youthfulness of the girl. Because it was a home outfit, she didn't deliberately modify anything. She only wore a pair of shorts that didn't reach her knees on her lower body, exposing a pair of slender and bright white legs. But even in such loose clothes, her excellent figure can be seen at a glance. Julie Yuli's breasts seemed to be a little bigger than Chi Minjiao's. Not sure. He remembered that Chi Minjiao seemed to have said that Julie Yuli's bust was 82 centimeters. Good morning, Julie Yuli. Tianhai Julie Yuli's face can be said to be crystal clear and beautiful. When she stands in front of her, the clear and sweet girly body fragrance hits her nostrils, which makes people want to swallow their saliva and look at her more. As usual, Amamai Kuruori's face was bright and energetic. Today, I recognized him at a glance. It seems that Sakakibara-kun has begun to distinguish between me and Nanamijiao. No, 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 it was entirely because of her smile that Chi Minjiao would frown when she felt dissatisfied, which was completely different from the feeling Julie Yuli gave people. Of course, if they had normal expressions, it would be really hard to tell them apart. Same face, same hairstyle, same height, same measurements. The last one is an estimate. If you add an identical school uniform, it will look like the opponent's clone. Going for a substitute exam, I felt completely unrecognizable in disguise. Sakakibara-kun is dressed like this. Are you going for a morning jog? Yes. Can you take one with me? Of course you can. But my goal today is 5 kilometers. Can you do it, Kuruori? Sakakibara tried to say. He was worried that Tenkai Kuruori wouldn't be able to hold on. No problem, Tianhai Julie Yuli agreed easily. No problem. Amamai Kuruori responded with dazzling eyebrows, and she pulled up the loose t-shirt on her body, but Sakakibara-kun has to wait for me for a moment, I have to change clothes. Okay. Raku Sakakihara stood in the living room, looking at his phone and waiting. Awaited. Sakakibara immediately put away his phone and looked up at Amamai Kuruori, who appeared in front of him. The raised cuffs, the pretty face, and the flaxen ponytail. The ponytail tied up with a hairpin makes her look more neat and less casual. Julie Yuli like this gives people a very strange feeling. It was like Chi Minjiao's cold face showed her a heartwarming smile, such a strange contrast. The two of them came downstairs together. At 6 o'clock in the morning, the sky was still a little gloomy, and there was a faint mist filling the streets. Where is the target? Tianhai Julie Yuli asked. Tokyo Tower. Sakakibara raised his head while stretching. The landmark building in Tokyo was flashing red light at this time. I have studied it. Starting from our place, it is about 30 kilometers from the shore of Tokyo Bay to Tokyo Tower. The journey is 2.5 kilometers, and the return trip is exactly 5 kilometers. How about it? Tokyo Tower. Tianhai Julie looked up into the distance, then turned back and smiled confidently at Sakakibara, then Sakakibara-kun, don't be left behind. Before Sakakihara Raku could react, Amamai Kuruori ran out first. Looking at the light back of the girl in front of him, Sakakihara couldn't help but smile. Even if you are my minister, you can't outrun me. He shook his arms, breathed a sigh of relief, and changed his expression to a serious one. He strode forward and rushed out, his rubber running shoes hitting the solid ground step by step, letting the cool wind vigorously flutter the sports short sleeves on his upper body. The rhythm of the heart, the sound of breathing, and the refreshing feeling of the morning breeze blowing on the cheeks and spreading throughout the body. He can feel it all in the streets of the city. He looked at the running back of the girl in front of him and sped up. Tianhai Julie Yuli ran ahead for a few seconds, and the two of them rushed a distance before they could get close. Sakakibara himself looked down on girls running, because no matter in his previous life or in this life, no girl could surpass him in running performance. And physiologically speaking, girls' bodies are generally not as strong as boys, and their hearts are smaller than men's. Tianhai Julie Yuli, being able to reach this point is not bad at all. Looking from her side to the way she is running, there is an indescribable natural beauty. The two of them kept the same pace and ran side by side, neither one speeding up to surpass the other out of competitiveness. This lasted for a long time. so that the two people's pace became more and more consistent, and they gradually adapted to each other's rhythm. This perfect tacit understanding seems to have made the distance between them much closer. Sakakibara-kun, how long have you been practicing running? The speed was a bit fast, and Amamikuruori's voice seemed to be left behind by the wind. The tiny hair on her forehead, blown by the wind, had an indescribable beauty. 10 years. That's been a long time. Tianhaijulai was flying behind. She smiled happily. Sakakihara looked back and wanted to continue to say something to her. Suddenly, her face was illuminated. On the coastline of Tokyo Bay, a breeze lifted up the clouds that stretched thousands of miles, and the morning light pierced the mist, tilting downwards and casting a series of shining golden beams. The bright sun that leaned out half of his body suddenly illuminated the entire blue sky. The sun fell on the sea and on the city, and the dazzling golden light suddenly illuminated the entire city, making it suddenly bright. Sakakibara-kun. Turning around, Sakakihara Raku suddenly noticed her smile in the sunshine, and couldn't believe that such a coincidence could exist in the world. Seagulls flew beside her, her figure was parallel to the coastline of Tokyo Bay, her running figure passed the green trees on the street, and continued to move forward with vigor. Even the hair on her forehead was sprinkled with a golden shimmer. What's wrong? Want to see who reaches Tokyo Tower first? The girl's voice brought Sakakihara back to reality. He looked forward, smiled faintly, and walked towards the road under his feet. Happy to accompany you. Sakakihara ran happily along the road, increasing his speed, but Amamikuruori not only did not fall behind, but her light figure actually threw him behind him. She definitely practiced it intentionally. Sakakibara watched her running back in front and her sweatshirt fluttering in the wind. He refused to admit defeat and continued to accelerate, finally turning a corner at an intersection and overtaking her. But before she even ran the 200-meter straight line, Sakakihara Raku was passed by her again. So powerful. Come on. Seeing her smile gradually fading away while waving, Sakakibara's face faced the morning Sunday. While he felt a little happy, he couldn't help but sigh helplessly in his heart. He relaxed his breathing, looked stern, strode forward, and used all his strength. The girl's back got closer and closer until it was completely parallel to her again. Sharp. Julie Yulai is also very good. After complimenting each other, the two of them remained silent at the same time. They only stared at the front, stepped out with their feet, and stepped on the solid concrete ground step by step, letting the sunshine breaking through the blue clouds guide the road ahead. The wind whistled past their ears and their hair swayed lightly. The two of them ran out of the crowded city and arrived at the seaside. The fresh fragrance of the morning spread instantly. Looking up to the horizon, it was already a sunny day in April between the clouds. It feels surprisingly good to have someone running with you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Lan. Chapter 43. Sakakibara took out 2 bottles of mineral water and 2 coins from the vending machine. He handed a bottle of mineral water to Tianhaijuli Yulai, who was sitting on the chair. It's costing you money, Sakakibara-kun. Why are you so polite? He finished drinking the water and sat down on the empty seat on the bench next to Tianhaijuli Yulai. In front of you is a park, with butterflies flying among the flowers, the sun falling from the treetops, and the green shade illuminating the stone road. Tianhaijuli Yulai looked at the sweat on his forehead after exercising, lowered his soft eyebrows and said with a smile, "Yes, we are already a family." Then, Tianhaijuli Yulai raised his eyebrows and asked, "Can I call you brother?" This sound shocked Sakakibara for half a second. He tightened the bottle cap and turned to look at the pink and sweaty cheeks of the girl next to him. Tianhaijuli Yulai had just finished running, and the two strands of hair hanging down on her cheeks were a little wet. She means it? Is it really too early? Seeing that Sakaki Hararaku didn't answer, Amamikuruori smiled to herself. In order to cover up her embarrassment, she put her hands on the benches on both sides, put her straight and white legs together and stretched them forward. She immediately raised her chin, looked at the blue sky, and smiled. Julie Yulai seems to like to laugh very much, with a smile full of sunshine and vitality. She is not very tall, and is shorter than Raku Sakakibara, but her beautiful temperament can always make people ignore the gap. What kind of existence am I to Sakakibara-kun? Facing her expectant gaze, Sakakihara asked, "Can I not answer?" Tianhaijuli Yulai blinked in surprise. Sakakibara put aside the level of mineral water, "I just feel that we know too little about each other. Not only can I not give you an answer now, I can't even convince myself." It was quiet for a while. Tianhaijuli Yulai's face was a soft and sweet smile. "Yes, I'm a little too anxious. We have known each other for less than a week, and even if we are classmates, we are still in the stage of strangers." But Tianhaijuli Yulai changed the topic and lowered his head. "For me, it's a strange feeling to suddenly have a brother." "Strange?" Sakakihara looked at her again. Tianhaijuli Yulai nodded slightly, holding the mineral water bottle with both hands and placing it between her fair legs. "In the past few days, I feel like I am being taken care of when I have a hot dinner every night." "Dad? Dad has been busy with work since Chi Minjiu and I were young. Mom only comes back to see us every few months. Most of the time Chi Minjiu and I stay at home alone at night, and we have convenient food. The store's assembly line bento. The bento looks good. But the taste can only be said to be edible. The rice is a bit sticky, and there is not much meat and vegetables left after just 2 bites. Often half of it is eaten, and only some are left that are so soft and sticky that it makes people feel uncomfortable. Unappetizing rice. The dinner Sakakibara-kun made for me and Nanamijetsu is completely different." "Well, how should I put it?" Tianhaijuli Yulai thought seriously for a while. "There are a lot of carefully prepared dishes, including soup, vegetables, and meat. In order to take into account the taste preferences of Chi Minjiu and I, we also made different styles of dishes. Seeing those dishes presented in front of us, with aromas and fragrances, the hot dishes and a bite of rice with distinct grains are a very special and novel feeling." She was obviously thinking about the problem seriously, but as she spoke, Tianhaijuli Yulai's eyes drifted into the distance, and her originally clear and bright eyes became a little confused. Sakakihara didn't understand the confusion on her expression, so he just listened patiently beside her. Julie Yulai's words were very true, and her smile was unusually warm and sweet. But she seemed to be hiding something in her heart. Tianhaijuli Yulai, who was obviously so perfect in school, who always kept the sun shining, would actually show such a lost look. This surprised Sakakihara Raku, but unexpectedly made her feel much more real. "Ah, I'm sorry." Amamikuruori returned to his state and met Sakakihara Raku's gaze. "I accidentally got distracted." "Is there Mother Julie Yulai's concern?" Sakakihara Raku didn't think it was important to her that she could cook. "Uncle Tianhai doesn't know how to cook." "Won't." "Sakakibara-kun, have you noticed that Nana Mingzuki has been asking you for potato chips and fried rice recently?" Sakakibara nodded. Tianhaijuli Yulai lowered his crystal clear eyebrows, pinched the mineral water he just bought with his slender jade fingers, and said with a smile. "Since she was a child, she has rarely really liked something, and she has never liked asking for help when she encounters difficulties. She always does it by herself, and has never asked anyone for anything. Although she has always had a target. I don't know why, but I always feel like she's always looking at you." "Keep looking at me." "Yes." Tianhaijuli Yulai nodded. Sakakihara laughed and said, "We didn't meet each other when we were kids." Tianhaijuli Yulai nodded again, "This is certain." Sakakibara thought about the twin sister's personality and said, "Maybe Nanami Mingzuki thinks it's fun to tease me." Sorry, Tianhaijuli Yulai immediately apologized for her sister. Chi Minjia probably didn't mean it. She didn't have such a character before. Well, Nanami Minjia used to be quite dull. She didn't like being talked to or chatting with others. She just read a book by herself. Don't Sakakibara-kun think we are too much trouble? Absolutely not. Sakakibara-kun, you don't need to use polite words, I can accept it? No, I usually help Suzu make dinner, so I just made 2 extra portions. Raku Sakakihara's voice was quite calm. It is undeniable that Julie Yulai's appearance is really upright, so beautiful that she would even think of her mother as delicate and beautiful. Even though they have only been together for a few weeks, Sakakihara Raku has already begun to like Julie Yulai's personality, which is beautiful, gentle, generous, and considerate. Mingming's appearance is exactly the same as Chi Minjia's, but when they are alone together, they give completely different answers. Even though Sakakibara-kun said this, I'm still very embarrassed. Because I always feel very unfamiliar. Tianhaijuli Yulai squeezed the mineral water bottle in her hand. Always calling you Sakakibara-kun. It still sounds a bit unfamiliar. Otherwise, should I call you brother? As she spoke, she turned her head, her sky blue eyes revealed the girl's expectations, and her face was so cute that people wanted to get in touch with her further. Elder brother. And the title brother that came out of her mouth sounded a bit close and respectful. Unlike the ordinary feeling Isuzu gave her, she always screamed smelly bro, stinky bro. When she was in a good mood, she would call her brother. When she was in a bad mood, she would just call herself Sakakibara Raku. She would call her brother when she wanted something. It's not that she is dissatisfied with Aling, but this completely different experience will make people like her. Okay, looking at her expectantly, Sakakihara agreed somehow, as if his mouth was controlled by something. Tianhaijuli Yulai tilted her head and smiled even brighter, then I will call you brother from now on. Can. Facing her smiling face, Sakakihara did not expect that in his 2 lifetimes, he would be embarrassed by a little girl. He was in disbelief. However, it stands to reason that I lived to be 18 years old in my last life, and I have not exceeded this limit at all in this life. He is just a simple adolescent boy, okay. Being stared at by a beautiful girl makes me feel a little moved, but it's actually nothing. After reluctantly persuading himself to let go of the burden in his heart, Sakakihara Raku felt that getting along with her became relaxed and pleasant. Then how about we continue running back together for the rest of the journey? Of course, Sakakihara Raku would not refuse this condition. Okay, he nodded. He watched the girl stand up beside him, cross her hands and raise her head, squinting her eyes, puffing out her green breasts, and stretching. After she breathed a sigh of relief, her entire perfect figure relaxed briskly. Sakakihara looked at the beads of sweat on her neck and cheeks, at her raising her hands to stretch her body, and at the perfectly curved curves of her chest. Her moans as she stretched could be heard in her ears, and the beauty of a young girl seemed to be fully reflected in her body. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 44. Sakakihara Suzu has been very unhappy recently. Ever since that day when the old man was watching her death, Yoshihara-senpai had always laughed at her in the office. He not only said that the old man was handsome, but also secretly asked her if she was a brother-in-law. Damn it, how could I have such weird thoughts? Besides, the smelly old man is not handsome at all. That's right, he's not handsome at all. At noon, the classroom was full of noise. The math book in front of Suzu Sakakihara was spread out with a gel pen sandwiched in the middle. She wanted to give her brain a holiday. She didn't want to learn those weird, twisting alphabet symbols at all. What costs in 10i proportionality, one looks more outrageous than the other. Suzu-chan, how do you solve this question? Her colleague and deskmate Sakai Chitano asked in a soft voice next to her. Although she is troubled by math, Sakakihara Suzu is known as an angel among her classmates with both good morals and academics. She is rated as a 9-pointer, making her a near-perfect beautiful girl. As an angel, she must take care of her classmates. Let me take a look. Suzu Sakakihara took Tiano's exercise book. Which question is it? Here, this is it. Sakai Kateno stretched out her finger. Assume the set m equals -1, 0, 1, n equals xx less than or equal to x, then m mathematical intersection symbol n equals. Seeing this question, Sakakihara Suzu felt bitter. White teeth, white teeth, white teeth. During class, I kept thinking about how annoying that smelly old guy from Sakakibara Raku was. I didn't pay attention to the class. What should I do if I don't know how to answer this question at all? Suzu-chan, what's wrong? Sakai Chitano suddenly noticed that her face looked a little uncomfortable. Sakakihara Suzu turned her head stiffly and forced a reserved smile. Sorry, I suddenly want to go to the bathroom. That's it? Let's go. Suzu-chan. Sakai Chitano didn't notice anything unusual at all, he just believed her and nodded. This question is sweet, so you should leave it alone first. Would you like to wait until Suzu-chan comes back to write? Okay, no problem. Sakakibara Suzu made a very anxious expression. Say no, wait a moment, I'll be back soon. Okay. Sakakibara Suzu stood up and walked out of the classroom quickly, passing through the corridor full of students. During the process, many classmates greeted her, and she responded with a straight smile. Many male classmates commented that she was indeed an angel. She casually came to the women's restroom and found a spot to stay. She instantly put away her angelic smile, then quickly took out her phone and found a contact with the remarked name Lele. Tap the screen quickly with your fingers and click send. Brother, are you here? Normally, Sakakihara Raku wouldn't play with her mobile phone after class. She was either reading a book or doing homework. She knew this. Because of this, she anxiously sent several messages before receiving a reply. Lele, if you have anything to say, tell me quickly. Finally back. He's just a bit cold and can't even bear to say a full stop. Stinky Lele. Suzu Sakakihara looked at the bubbles that popped up on the phone screen, pursed her lips, typed the message, and clicked send again. There is a math problem I can't solve. There was an interval of more than 10 seconds. Lele, are you asking me for advice on study? Sakakihara Suzu continued to reply, yes. Lele, are you Sakakihara Suzu? Suzu Sakakihara quickly flipped through a lot of expressions she had collected, and finally found a bunny expression with half-closed eyelids and a frown and posted it. A few seconds passed. Lele, take a photo of the original title and send it over, I'll show it to you. Sakakihara Suzu, I'll type it and send it to you. Sakakihara Suzu thought about it for a moment and sent him the question word for word. She is still confident in her memory, just like her intuition. Raku Sakakibara, who was still having lunch in the cafeteria, glanced at the message sent to him by his sister. Topic. The answer is 0, 1, he knew the answer at a glance. This is the simplest and easiest question to collect. Don't you know how to do this? Are their class 2 so bad? Because this question was so simple that it was unprecedentedly simple, in order to test whether there was something wrong with him, Sakakibara took the question to Nishijima Ogai, who was eating tonkotsu ramen next to him. 0 and 1 Nishijima Ogai answered without thinking for a second after reading the question, and at the same time pushed up his glasses that were covered in white mist from the noodles. Sakakibara straightened his body. Sure enough, a certain guy was simply too stupid. What a silly sister. Sakakibara put down the chopsticks from the lunchbox and spent a few minutes replying to her answers on his mobile phone, and also sent the solution ideas to her. Sakakihara Suzu quickly replied to the message, "Thank you, brother." It also comes with a cute big-eared dog emoticon. It seems that what happened in the past few days has completely subsided. Sakakihara Suzu, do you want to go home together in the afternoon? I do not have a job. Sakakibara Raku, no, someone asked me out in the afternoon. This guy actually asked me to go home with him, which was unprecedented. It would be nice if she could take a good look at him at school. Suzu Sakakihara, who was hiding in the toilet, frowned, "Who is it?" Sakakibara, "Who are you chatting with?" Fujino Yoshiyuki opposite was eating chicken steak with a suspicious look on his face. Junior high school classmate Raku Sakakihara quickly put away his phone and responded casually. Fujino Yoshiyuki responded with a look in his eyes, "See if I believe it or not, this guy is definitely secretly having a crush on someone." By the way, Nishijima Ogai suddenly raised his head, "What class are you doing this afternoon?" Geography class. Fujino Yoshiyuki chatted with his girlfriend on his mobile phone, only half eaten. Raku Sakakibara was eating the bento he made and added, "The geography teacher's calf was broken in half by a baseball from the baseball club next door, so he won't have class in the afternoon." Who is so powerful? A baseball hero? Have no idea. Then is free time in the afternoon. That's right. Nishijima Ogai looked around the two of them, "Do you have anything to do?" Fujino Yoshiyuki, falling in love. Sakakibara Raku, go to the club. Why didn't you come back? Who did you ask out? On Sakakihara Suzu's side, she sent out several more "Who is it?" After everything was lost, she angrily put away her phone and walked out of the bathroom, muttering as she walked, "Don't reply to me." Back in the classroom, she gathered her emotions and once again helped Sakai Kishano explain how to solve the problem just now. Sakai Kitano kept nodding, and under her explanation, it gradually became clearer. She scratched her head sheepishly and smiled. Sure enough, Suzu-chan is still great. No matter in work or academic ability, she is much better than Tiano. It's just a joke. If there's anything else you don't know, remember to ask me. Sakakibara Suzu took out her lunch. She sat upright. As she ate, she thought, who on earth would ask Sakakibara Suzu out? Kaimingyu or Julie Yulai? By the way, Suzu-chan's brother also attends this school, right? Why don't you seem to have seen him show up before? How do you know, Tien-nai? That's what Yoshihara-senpai said. Yoshihara-senpai, Sakakihara Suzu pictured now Yoshihara showing her little fangs. No, no. How did your senior know that Raku Sakakibara and you were studying in the same school? Did they talk about it in the company before? Speaking of which, the seniors seemed to be a little too interested in their elder brother recently. He asked himself circumstantial questions about his hobbies and favorite things. Sakakihara Suzu keenly sensed something was wrong. Seniors don't know that, right? Moreover, Sakakibara said that someone asked him to go out with him in the afternoon, but he still didn't go home with him. I'm afraid not. The more Sakakihara Suzu thought about it, the more something was wrong, and she felt itchy and panicked. Her intuition told her that there was definitely something fishy going on. My brother is a guy who has never been in love. He is barely smarter than me. But being smart is of no use at all. The opponent is Yoshihara-senpai. Yoshihara-senpai's identity is not simple. She is the eldest daughter of a district council member. Her sister is also an investor in many animation and corporate offices. According to private discussions among colleagues in the office, she has dated at least 20 boyfriends. More than 20. If it were an ordinary voice actor, he would have been thrown into a storm of public opinion. But Yoshihara-senpai didn't, and instead greeted them briskly every day. Due to her identity, everyone must keep those things in their hearts and greet her with a smile every day. Although Senior takes good care of her, and although this is Senior's private matter, she should not discuss her work casually. Ken. If Stinky Lele can be easily fished out by me in a month, what should I do if Senior suddenly wants to catch him? He will definitely be lured away by Yoshihara-senpai. Sakakibara Suzu didn't want to see Yoshihara-senpai put his arms around Sakakibara Raku's neck, close to his face, and said to herself with a friendly smile, "Suzu-chan, your brother and I are lovers now." Totally provocative. That look is completely unacceptable. Suzuki-chan, Sakai Kateno covered her face with her small hands and looked at the chopsticks in Sakakibara Suzu's hands that she had broken off in surprise. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 45. Existing points, 2,330. Existing deposit, 8,423 yen. In the past few days, Sakakibara Raku has been determined to use Sakakibara Suzu to gain points, including simple operations such as cooking for her and buying her a bottle of water. Sakakibara Suzu has been feeling weird these days. Why is her brother suddenly being so nice to her? I take the initiative to deliver water and meals every day. There is no way. Sakakibara Suzu's Hanafuda 2 has 3,250 points every day just for daily tasks, and only 325 points for doing it by yourself. Speaking of daily tasks, that Naoshiko Hanafuda 2 just wanted to take care of Sakakibara Suzu wholeheartedly. What are the daily tasks of a person? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, drink water. The judgment of drinking water is fine. Just give her a glass of water and watch her drink it. As for the 3 meals, after studying these days, Sakakibara discovered that he had to feed her with his own hands. Putting aside Sakakibara Letu's disagreement, if he took the initiative to mention feeding her, she would definitely look disgusted. No matter how old he is, the smelly old man still feeds himself. This is not the second dimension. Where did the dead girl control come from? She will definitely think so. Every time Sakakibara watched her eat, the words "would you like me to feed you" were stuck in his throat and he couldn't shout out, so he finally had to give up. Therefore, except for getting her a glass of water every day, there is really no progress in several other tasks. As for the daily tasks of bathing together, running 25 kilometers together, doing laundry together, cleaning housework together, and taking out the trash together, don't even think about it. When she stays at home, she is just a white pig who only knows how to use her mobile phone to eat. It is impossible for her to be with him. Let's do it. As for the level 5 and level 10 detectors and the left-right fighting technique of Wazatu, he really can only rely on the top 3 in the monthly test of the monthly mission, which has 30,000 points at a time. However, it is extremely difficult for Sakakibara Suzu to get into the top 3 in the monthly test. I spent 500,000 yen to get a flower card too that bloomed, but it didn't look like it had bloomed at all. Might as well use this money to treat my sisters to a luxurious meal. It can also enhance the relationship and leave a generous impression on the 2 sisters. With an empty playground in front of him, Raku Sakakibara sat on a bench under an oak tree, placing his hands on his sides and looking at the blue sky. The international flights departing from Haneda Airport drew a white trail in the sky. The geography teacher was so unlucky that his calf was broken by a baseball. There was no geography class this afternoon. With nothing to do, he sat by the school playground to relax in the cool air and look at the green leaves and twigs blown by the wind around him. If in his previous life, in a situation like this, he would feel sorry for the teacher, and then decisively take out the mobile phone he secretly brought during the self-study class, and play some small games in the eyes of the male classmates. At that time, he didn't have any mobile games like Honor of Kings and Genshin Impact. Mobile phones are still push-button machines, and you have to use a flash and flick universal charger to charge them. It is normal to have two batteries. At that time, he liked to play some Java games such as role-playing games with a button machine, watching the warm daily life of the protagonist's sect, watching the sect being invaded by evil forces, and watching his master and his wife being captured in a desperate attempt to save him. At that time, he really felt the same way when he was playing. He could understand the psychological changes of the protagonist in it, and he could feel the despair and resentment of the protagonist looking at the ruins of the sect in the heavy rain. Watch the protagonist set a goal, experience adventures along the way, meet all kinds of people, learn all kinds of stories, expose the conspiracy step by step, practice magical skills, save the junior sister, the master, the classmates, and save the world. When Zoe finally faced the culprit of everything, he still remembered the feeling of leaving everything behind and fighting hard, and the description of the color of the world changing. After playing the game many times, I still feel reluctant to let go. I still want to see more of the little junior sister after being rescued, and see more of the ordinary chats between the master and his wife in the sect. I don't know why, but he always liked characters like the little junior sister in the past. He thought she was lively and cute, so he wanted to save her. Apart from these, of course there are also various Western fantasy RPGs, all of which are quite good. These Java games can be said to be his RPG enlightenment. An oak leaf fell on the spot next to him. Putting away his memories, Sakakihara stood up from the bench, walked across the playground, and walked back to the classroom. There are not many people in the classroom. Ai Minakura, the monitor, was reading alone in a row of seats. There were a few girls chatting together, Oki Nishijima, who was playing Monster Hunter Rise on his Switch, and Yoshiyuki Fujino, who was chatting with his first girlfriend on his mobile phone. As soon as Sakakihara Raku returned to his seat by the window in the back row, Fujino Yoshiyuki in front said to him, "Sakakibara, we are on duty today." Sakakihara looked up at the blackboard, and it was true. The classes in the class are divided into groups of 3, and they divide their own duties. If you want to be in a group, you just need to report your name directly to the teacher in charge. He looked back. "Are you going to clean the blackboard or should I?" "Anything is fine." Fujino Yoshiyuki didn't look at Sakakihara Raku, but focused on his mobile phone. He didn't know what he was talking about, and he smiled brightly. School is officially over in the afternoon, and most of the classmates who went out to hang out on the playground have returned to the classroom. Raku Sakakihara took a bucket of water from the small balcony attached to the classroom, took a rag to the blackboard, and spent 2 minutes tidying up the platform. Fujino also swept the floor at the same time. Students are not required to throw away garbage. The school hires employees to collect it themselves according to daily garbage classification. When there were only 3 people left in the classroom, Fujino Yoshiyuki looked at Raku Sakakibara, who was still standing next to his seat. "Sakakibara, you still haven't left yet." Sakakibara put on his shoulder bag and picked up the 2-meter-long bow bag placed at the back of the classroom. "Let's go downstairs together. I have to go to club activities today." Today Tianhaijuli Yuli made an appointment to go out after his club activities, but he didn't know what he was going to do. "Okay, Nishijima, let's go." "Don't chop the dragon." Fujino Yoshiyuki immediately called Nishijima Oki, who was sitting on the table. Oh, Nishijima Oki paused the game and grabbed his school bag. The 3 of them left the classroom together and went downstairs. The teaching building was very quiet during this time, and most students were participating in club activities as required by the school. I have to say that Japan's community activities are really colorful, and you can find like-minded people with any kind of random interests. For example, those who play computer games, those who play console games, and those who play gal games all have their own societies. Everybody doesn't like to sit in a classroom, play games openly, and share the same interests and hobbies, right? Mingde Elementary School also has requirements for being active in clubs. Without special reasons, students cannot be absent for 5 days in a month and miss attendance 3 times in a row. Students will be directly suspended for review this semester. As for who has the final say about absences or absences, it must be the ministers of each society. Most clubs use voting, which is very democratic. Sports clubs that need to participate in national high school competitions directly send their ministers to speak with strength. Each airborne minister was recruited by the school from other schools, promising free tuition, annual scholarships, admission to university and other favorable conditions. For example, Amamai Kuruori is a standard airborne minister, and Sakakibara Raku knows that she is the 4th Dan in the Kyoto League. 15-year-old Saiden. What is this concept? This level is generally only passed by adults over 30 years old and with more than 10 years of archery experience. I heard from her that she only started practicing Kyoto in the 2nd year of junior high school. After participating in a competition, her rank skyrocketed and she passed the 4th Dan level despite her age. Sakakibara looked at his first level Kyoto qualification certificate, a little doubtful as to who owned the system. Sakakibara, Akimi. After bidding farewell to his 2 friends, Sakakibara brought his bow bag to the Kyoto club. Ever since Tianhai Julialai came here to be the director, a warm atmosphere began to pervade the Kyoto department. Tianhai Julialai is wearing a white Kyoto uniform with black hakama, and personally guides the members in the archery movements. She always has a unique temperament. As long as you look at her face for a while, the brilliant cherry blossoms will appear in her flaxen color. The soft hair sprouts and blooms, as warm as the spring breeze. How could a girl be so beautiful and cute? Raku Sakakibara couldn't help but think when he came in with a bow bag on his back. When he came out of the locker room and put on his Kyoto uniform, Raku Sakakibara could clearly feel that Amamai Kuruori was the focus of the entire Kyoto club. And she was obviously very busy, being asked about Kyoto knowledge by various members. Sakakibara held his unstrung Japanese bow and looked at her twice unconsciously. Hey, Sakakibara, Sakakibara. What? Sakakibara came back to his senses and found that it was Hata Masahiro pushing his shoulder with a smirk on his face. What? You're asking me why? Hata Masahiro did not finish his words, but lowered his voice and said to him, how about it, isn't Minister Tenkai beautiful? On this point, Sakakibara Raku has no objection. Oh, I feel a little sorry for Minister Minagawa. Hata Masahiro's words were full of apology. No, it's former Minister Minagawa. Because you think it's good for her to leave. He, don't say this out loud. It's not like you don't understand. Hata Masahiro bumped him twice with his elbow. Sakakibara Raku directly looked at this archery senior with contempt. If he remembered correctly, this guy just said something with confidence last week. Minagawa-san is the only woman who convinced me. Men, indeed, love the new and hate the old. Sakakibara-san, let me show you something. What? Sakakibara Raku noticed that Hata Masahiro took out his mobile phone. Minister Tianhai's contact information. How about it? Do you want to add it? There are also some photos of her life in it. Let me tell you, they are all treasures. Masahiro Hata's current expression can be described as I got my beloved baby and can't help but show it off to others. This deputy minister is unexpectedly cute. Sakakibara couldn't find any words to describe it. But yes, he is still a high school student after all. I've added it. Added. Hata Masahiro looked stunned and immediately took back his phone. When did you add it? While stringing his bow, Sakakibara replied calmly, I naturally added it because I wanted to ask the minister for some advice on shooting techniques. She agreed. Yes, I agreed immediately. I said I am a member of the Kyoto Club. Sakakihara thought for a moment, other members should also join. Has everyone else joined in? Masahiro Hata instantly felt like his hopes were shattered. After a long time, he realized that he was not the most special one. Sakakihara Raku pulled the bow twice to test the feel, then slowly relaxed the bow string. After confirming that there was no problem, he stood at the extreme shooting position. There are far and near targets in archery. The far target is 28 m. From the shooting position in the dojo, you can only see a tiny dot with the naked eye. In addition, the top of the bow is long and the bottom is short, making it difficult to control. Newbies don't have to worry about the long target at all. Even though Raku Sakakihara had experience in his previous life, it still took him a long time to hit the 28-meter target. Call. Holding a long bow in his hand, Sakakibara took a deep breath, relaxed his mind, looked straight at the target in front of him, and recalled the 8 knots of shooting in his mind. He calmly raised the longbow, pushed the bow with his left hand, and pulled the string with his right hand until his eyes fell on the bow, about 3-4 centimeters above the junction between the Yazora vine and the leather of the grip. His right cheek touched the arrow lightly, and his whole body was almost still. The power of the string gradually gathered on the green arrow tail. Sakakihara found the right position and released the arrow. A flash of green streaked across the lawn, and the whistling sound echoed in my ears. Sakakibara-kun. Hearing this sound, Sakakibara subconsciously looked towards the flying arrow. He was the proud champion of the district league, but his first arrow missed the target. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 46. It seems I showed up at the wrong time. No, the arrow just now has been shot. It's because I didn't calm down. Sakakibara turned around and glanced at the large sign hanging above the Bao Dojo, a straight shot will hit. In the past, I would not have missed the target with my first shot. I feel like my brother is a lot more restrained outside. Tianhai Julie Yulai covered half of her face and smiled at him in a low voice. After all, you are the minister. Raku Sakakihara glanced around the club and replied in a lowered voice. Is it because of this that I can only be called Sakakibara-kun in the Kyoto Club? Raku Sakakibara is not the kind of person who likes two-dimensional cute girls, but he will inevitably feel comfortable being called Ni-chan by a beautiful girl in real life. But this kind of experience is okay in private, in the archery club where everyone is acquaintances. It is equivalent to social death. Sakakibara Raku can already imagine that scene. Well, Minister Tenkai turns out to be Sakakibara-san's sister. Is this true? So loving. There will be endless ideas like this. When the time comes, everyone will look at me strangely every afternoon when I come to the club. You might also hear some rumors that Minister Tianhai gave him a small chance because of his brother-sister relationship. Even more outrageously, he would say that as an elder brother, he is not as powerful as his younger sister. What Japanese high school students like most is talking in the air. Once a certain group reaches a consensus, only more outrageous rumors will spread among students. If you were always in this environment, how could you calm down and practice bowing? In fact, it doesn't matter if outsiders know that the two are brother and sister. It's okay to shout normally like Ling, but when Julie Yulai calls him, he will often use a friendly tone and add honorifics. Changing the context into Chinese is equivalent to a beautiful sister calling herself brother, brother, brother in front of outsiders. This really doesn't work. Did Sakakibara-kun use the half-moon shooting technique just now? Did you see it? Sakakihara asked in surprise. Half-moon is a term in Kyoto. A target is round. If the target is completely exposed in the field of vision, then it is a full moon. If you cover half of the target with the bow, it will be a half moon. According to the regulations of the All Japan Kyoto Federation, Weijia bows are not allowed to be equipped with instruments or marks with calibration functions, and can only be aimed with the naked eye. As for why Sakakihara used half-moon aiming, it was related to his habit of playing bow and arrow in his previous life. It can be easily seen from Sakakibara-kun's shooting posture just now. Moreover, Sakakibara-kun's posture just now can be slightly improved. Do you need me to demonstrate it again? Please. Tianhaijuli Yulai lowered his head as if saluting him, and then took the bow from his hand. She looked at the type of bow. It was a straight 7-foot minus 3-inch fiberglass bow, and the price was about 20,000 yen. It looks like it's a new bow. Has my brother used this bow before? Tianhaijuli Yulai stood in the shooting position. Sakakihara Raku stood aside and watched Amamai Kuruuri's movements. It is said that girls who practice Kyoto are very stylish, and now it seems that this is indeed the case. She gently took out 2 arrows from the quiver, placed one on the bow, and held the other between her index finger and ring finger. There is nothing wrong with her in the first few steps of the 8 sections of shooting, including body formation, bow preparation, and raising. You can draw your upper body back a little, and then push your waist forward a little. Tianhaijuli Yulai explained while slowly pulling the bowstring flat. She was wearing a plain white Kyoto uniform, with a serious expression on her face, looking at the target in the dojo. The girl held the bowstring with her right hand, supported the bow with her left hand, and opened the bow steadily. The long arrow was level with the corner of her eyes. The moment the bow was fully drawn, the girl's hands and the bow and arrow formed a neat cross shape, elegant and calm. When the bow is fully drawn, the straight string body does not vibrate at all. Is she so strong? Sakakihara's brows tightened as he saw it. What kind of magical skill is this? You know, this is a glass bow with a tension of 22 kilograms. Even for him, his right hand will tremble when the bow is fully loaded. Ordinary girls would find it difficult to pull even 15 kilograms in a particularly standard arching position, let alone the 22 kilograms of pulling force that even boys can't control. But the strange thing is, this glass bow was unfolded as easily as a toy in Tianhaijuli Yulai's hands. His hands don't tremble, his face doesn't turn red. Keep breathing. If others draw the bow cautiously, then Julie Yulai draws the bow slowly and freely. The whole process is as calm as the lake surface, and as comfortable as a basketball showing a perfect parabola. Sakakibara looked at her again at this time. The long sleeves were lifted up, the expression was serious, the face was pretty, and the ponytail was flying behind the girl. There are 8 sections in archery: body formation, bow preparation, raising, drawing the bow, meeting, separation, and remaining hard. Seeing that she had entered the meeting state, with her bowstring fully stretched, Sakakibara immediately counted silently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The arrow flew out of Amamai Kuruuri's hand, accompanied by a unique string sound that Sakakibara had never heard before, and the arrow hit the target. When Tianhaijuli Yulai put down her bow, many members in the bow dojo had already silently glanced at her. Even the deputy director of the Kyoto department, Hata Masahiro, opened his mouth slightly and was speechless, and then sighed. Amazing. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the club activities ended, and the sky was still blue. It feels like all my bow practice these past few years has been in vain. Today, it can be said that Julie Yulai helped her correct her posture almost the whole time, and her hands frequently touched her lower abdomen. Compared to her usual self, she seems to be extremely serious about what she does. No, brother is already very good, but there are just a few details missing. Julie Yulai, how do you manage the pulling force of 22 kilograms easily? Breathe, Tianhaijuli Yulai said, and it's not easy for me to draw the bow. I have to use all my strength to draw it. But I just saw you. Well, it's mainly due to breathing. If you breathe well, your hands will be steady and you can draw the bowstring without any trembling. But breathing is not just about pursuing stability, but it is necessary to properly adjust and relax between the 8 sections of the shooting method. That's it. Come to the Kyoto Club at noon tomorrow and I can teach my brother alone. Why alone? Because the breathing method is to be felt on a person's belly, which means I need to put my hand on my brother's belly to feel his breathing rhythm. Want to take off your clothes? No, no, you can wear hakama clothes. I understand Raku Sakakibara knew that training alone was to avoid suspicion, but this was still a small matter. Breathing techniques vary from person to person, and methods vary from place to place in the world. The breathing method he uses now is based on his previous experience with competitive recurve bows. All I can say is that it can still be used, but it's not very suitable for archery. Based on what I just observed, my brother is a self-taught archer, right? Well, I was self-taught before and won a district championship in junior high school. How many years have you been studying by yourself? 2 years. This is already very impressive. In fact, my brother's level is about the same as mine, but he is a little behind in some unique Kyoto techniques. It's nothing amazing, Sakakihara thought. This was all based on his experience playing competitive recurve bows in his previous life. In his previous life, in order to be selected for the national team, he practiced bow and arrow all the time. Studying and eating became secondary. When he was 18 years old, he won the domestic championship and prepared to go to the Olympic Games. But he didn't want to fish for people on his rest day. After his rebirth, his family did not have the conditions to support him in playing bow and arrow. It was not until his mother's job suddenly improved and the family had more money that he regained the skill that had been neglected for more than 10 years. Subway platform. The two stood in front of the glass guardrail waiting for the subway, one person apart from each other. Can you tell me now? The reason why you asked me to go to Ginza. Mainly I want to give my brother a gift. Gift. Meeting gift, clothes, shoes. I see that my brother has been wearing his usual clothes for a long time. I want to help you get a new set. What's the matter? I usually wear my school uniform. It doesn't matter if I don't change. Brother's sneakers must be replaced, they are all so old. Tianhaijuli Yulai stood quietly aside with a smile. The subway roared from the tunnel, bringing with it the wind, causing the girl's flaxen hair to float gently. Tianhaijuli Yulai shook his head, put his shoulder bag on the skirt behind him with both hands, straightened his chest and said with a smile, besides, it's just a gift. It shouldn't be a problem for my sister to give a gift to my brother, right? Hearing this, Sakakibara looked back with a smile on his face. Brother, what are you laughing at? It's nothing, I just feel good that someone cares about me. Ling Chen never gave your brother a gift. She has given me gifts, and they are all small gadgets. She has been very generous recently. She bought the mobile phone for me again. I still want to return the money to her. Brother, it's better not to give the money back to Suzu-chan. Why? Because giving a gift to someone means you are giving it with your heart. If my brother returns the money, doesn't it mean that he is also giving his heart back? You're right to say that. So, Julie Yulai's gift to my brother. Can't you pay it back? That's right. My brother usually gets up early to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner for us. It's hard enough. If I didn't give him some gifts, I would feel bad. Seeing her happy and delicate face, Sakakihara smiled inwardly, looked back, and said, if my parents hadn't remarried, it would be difficult for people like us to interact. Yes, they all study in the same school. So this can be regarded as fate. Well, fate. The subway stopped slowly amid the beep, and the two of them quickly stepped onto the number 5 subway car. At the same time, In the number 6 car next door, a girl in a Western-style school uniform pulled down her sunglasses. She looked at the two people chatting together in the number 5 car next door, then lowered her head and muttered in a low voice. Although it's not with Yoshihara-senpai, it's actually with Julie Yulai. How happy are you to have a new sister? You're still laughing. You don't even laugh when chatting with me and you don't even call me. What are you two guys going to do about the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple? Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 47. We've arrived at Ginza Station, we've arrived at Ginza Station. Sakakibara Suzu, who was holding the hanging ring, saw the two people next door getting out of the car, quickly lowered her peaked cap and followed them. Waiting for them to get on the elevator, Sakakihara Suzu followed them carefully and got on the elevator. The following people flowed out of the narrow platform, and what appeared in front of them was a crowded pedestrian commercial street. This is Ginza, a major commercial district in the Chuo district of Tokyo, Japan. It has the most high-end shopping stores and countless personalized clothing can be seen on the roadside. It is known as the most expensive place in Asia. There are many buildings, lights are on, countless neon lights are flashing on commercial billboards, celebrity advertisements, fashion advertisements, and clothing advertisements are dazzling. Ginza, what are you doing in Ginza? Sakakihara Suzu followed the two of them into a high-end shopping mall, placed her hands next to a Kumaman bear doll, and watched them enter a clothing store with furrowed brows. Actually, I brought my brother here to buy clothes. Forget it. He even took him to Champion. Doesn't Julie Yulai know that this store sells couples clothing? Sakakibara Suzu poked half of her head out to look at the two people in the store. When she saw them talking and interacting, her fingers couldn't help but tighten their grip on Kumaman's arm. Then, she realized something was wrong. Why do I care so much about this smelly old brother? Moreover, even if Yoshihara-senpai is really in love with my brother, it is none of his business. Then why are you so angry at noon? The more Sakakihara Suzu thought about it, the more something was wrong, and she kept finding a reason for herself in her heart. Finally, she found one. I'm so stupid. If a girl deceives my feelings, I will regret it for the rest of my life. I followed him this afternoon just to confirm whether it was Yoshihara-senpai who asked him out. If so, it is necessary for me to remind my old brother Yoshihara-senpai of his boyfriend experience and ask him to let go as soon as possible. If it weren't for Yoshihara-senpai, he should go back now. It would be so comfortable to lie down and check his phone at home. Right, that is it. Sakakibara Suzu nodded to herself, but when she saw Sakakibara Raku and Amamai Kuriyuri coming out with canvas bags on the opposite side, she hurriedly hid her head back. When they gradually walked away, Sakakihara Suzu poked her head out again. Still want to go shopping? Actually, I still have to go shopping. Just buy one piece of clothing and it's enough. Seeing their backs, Sakakihara Suzu felt itchy, and suddenly she didn't want to go back. After struggling in her heart for a while, she realized that the figures of the two people were about to disappear. She was heartbroken and hurriedly followed them. Sakakibara Suzu didn't know what happened to her today. She secretly watched the two of them from the corner as they went shopping in one fashion store after another. She watched Tianhai July put the clothes on her brother to see if they would fit. She watched her brother face each other. She was a little embarrassed and turned her head away. The more she looked at it, the more anxious she became. She couldn't tell what it tasted like, but she just didn't like it. I particularly don't like it. Damn, it's so hateful. The most important thing is that there was also a female clerk who seemed to say that they looked like a couple or something, which made the guy Tianhai Julie Yulai blush. Why are you blushing? You are brother and sister, okay. Even if they are said to be a couple, should I just explain it indifferently? Isn't Julie just a little bit more beautiful? My brother is a pervert, he just likes beautiful girls, what's so good about him? Last time I caught him looking at some photo pictures and he still refused to admit it. Ling-chan. Sakakibara Suzu was frightened when she was lightly tapped on the shoulder and scratching the wall with her hands. She closed her shoulders and turned around quickly. Yoshiashi era senpai? And Yuto senpai. Now Yoshihara waved and smiled, good afternoon Suzu-chan, what were you peeking at just now? Suzu Sakakihara stood up straight, quickly hid the sunglasses in her hands behind her back, and tried her best to show a very reserved and upright smile on the back of her hands. No, it's nothing. Seniors, why are you here? Ms. Yoshihara, who was dressed casually and fashionably, took off her sunglasses and smiled at her with her little fangs showing, Ya-yum and I went shopping. You don't know that we come to Ginza every day. Yuto Yisame looked at Sakakihara Suzu's outfit thoughtfully. Caps, cat masks, and school uniforms. What's going on with Suzu-chan's outfit? She asked in confusion. Miss Yoshihara covered her mouth in surprise. Yes, Suzu-chan's clothes are the school uniforms of our Akita Junior High School, right? And it's just past 5 o'clock now, so the club activities must have just ended. Why is Suzu-chan wearing her school uniform? Did you come to Ginza to buy clothes? In fact, when now Yoshihara saw the cat mask, she knew it was Suzu Sakakihara. She saw her wearing it, so she was deeply impressed. But why did Suzu-chan, who usually walked very seriously, stand by the wall like that, as if she was peeking? Could it be that Suzu-chan is stalking the person she likes? When now Yoshihara thought of this, a cute smile couldn't help but appear on her face. I'm also here to visit Ginza. It's almost summer. I mainly want to buy a dress to go back to. Suzu Sakakihara acted a little unnatural in front of her seniors. She turned her face to the side and looked at the smooth tile floor of the mall. Yeah. Now Yoshihara obviously didn't believe such a simple statement. She tilted her head outwards, trying to look in the direction where Sakakihara Suzu had just peeked. Senior also wants to go shopping, why don't we come together? Sakakihara Suzu stood in front of her, blocking her view, with a normal and cute smile on her face. That's good now Yoshihara agreed, and quickly stood aside to take a look at the clothing store at the diagonal corner in front. Let's go quickly, senior. But Sakakihara Suzu reacted quickly, and after 2 rounds, Yoshihara now's vision was blocked by her. Miss Yoshihara sighed, Suzuki-chan, let me see your little boyfriend. The office doesn't prohibit you from falling in love, so it's okay. No, absolutely no boyfriend, Sakakihara Suzu kept waving her hands. Are you playing with a wooden man here? Shake it left and right. Misudu hadn't figured out the situation yet. Yay rain, there is a little boy Suzu-chan likes in the store in front. Where? Yuto senpai. Taking advantage of Sakakihara Suzu's opportunity to stop Yuto Yisame, Ms. Yoshihara stepped outside quickly, looking through the curved corner of the mall and saw the people inside the store. Actually, Yoshihara now immediately covered her face with her hands and showed an expression even more surprised than before. So done. Ruined. Seeing now Yoshihara's surprised expression, Sakakihara Suzu was so anxious that she wanted to scratch her head. Why? Why do I always encounter the scene of social death? Secretly stalking my brother or something? If her seniors found out, she wouldn't really think that she was being controlled by her brother. However, Yoshihara-senpai still knew about it. Ruined. The future life in the office and the life of Angel voice actor are all gone. Dreams, broken. There's nothing now. Yoshihara looked around that location again, tiptoed but still didn't find anything. No. Hope rekindled in Sakakihara Suzu's heart. In other words, haven't you seen my brother? So Suzu-chan, what were you looking at just now? Just now, I saw a very cute doll rabbit, but it was a pity that it was bought. Suzu Sakakihara's expression returned to normal. That's right, rabbit, Suzu-chan, you like rabbits, it's written in the information now. Yoshihara looked at the clothing store again, but she really didn't find anyone suspicious. There happened to be a doll shop over there, so I had no choice but to believe her words. Okay, don't be so suspicious. Doesn't Suzu-chan often go out dressed like this? Haha, yes, Suzu-chan is so cute. It seems we've come around again. Sakakihara Raku, who was carrying a canvas bag, said to Amamai Kuriyuri beside him. However, as his perspective moved forward along the curved corner, he soon saw three familiar people standing in front of him. Seeing the short-haired girl standing upright, Sakakihara stopped and said, "Aling. Why are you here?" "About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple." Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 48. Brother, how about you try this one? Amamai Kuriyuri held the polo shirt he had just taken out from the hanger in the store and placed it on Sakakibara Raku's chest to try on, with a serious look on his face to see if the size would fit. Sakakihara Raku experienced a little bit of something different. "Julie Yulai, do you often come here to buy clothes?" "Not often, but I bought most of Chi Minjiu's clothes for her." Tianhai Julie Yulai held the corner of the polo shirt on his chest, found that the size was not suitable, and hung it back. She continued. "Dad will not take Chi Minjiu and me out to buy clothes. My mother used to send us clothes from the UK. Only when she comes to visit me and Chi Minjiu in person will she take the time to accompany us to go shopping in the shopping mall. Want to buy clothes? Your mother will still come to see you now?" "Yes. But no, she has been very busy recently. If your brother is interested, you can search for the name Bertha Hekia on social networks and you can see a lot of information about your mother. By the way, she has a Chinese name, Si Ruyi. Si. A rare surname, or was it chosen by foreigners at random? Why does it have a Chinese name?" Tianhai Julie Yulai took off another casual jacket and said, "Because my grandfather is Chinese, even though Chi Minjiu and I are mixed-race brothers. Have you noticed that Chi Minjiu and I don't have many European characteristics?" This is true. When he first heard that their mother was British, Sakakihara Raku was quite surprised. Because apart from them, no Western facial features can be seen at all. She is a beautiful girl who completely fits the Asian aesthetic, except for her hair color and eyes. "Brother, raise your hand." Tianhai Julialai put her coat on his chest, touched his arm with her little hand, and motioned for him to lift up. Sakakihara subconsciously straightened his waist. As she gets closer, you can always smell a sweet scent. Chi Minjiu seems to have this smell too. For some reason, Sakakihara Raku always felt a little embarrassed when he was so close to her, as if the warmth from her body was on his face. "Brother, the other hand." Sakakihara raised his right hand again, and Amamai Kuriyuri took a look at it by holding the sleeve of his coat, just past the wrist. "A little too close." "This is okay, brother, what do you think?" Tianhai Julialai's eyes flickered with light, and she asked him while holding her coat and shaking it gently. Sakakihara Raku was still immersed in the scene of her carrying the clothes to measure whether they fit him. He came to his senses and replied, "You can try it on. This dress is not too fancy." Brother doesn't like fancy things. Juliuli thinks that he should dress to look younger. My mother and I have learned about clothing matching, and we have also learned some about boys' outfits. My brother likes sports, and this polo shirt, brother, you can also put it on together and give it a try. That's okay. Sakakibara entered the fitting room and changed out of the clothes he was wearing before. When he came out, Tianhai Juliuli folded his hands in front of his skirt and stared at him outside. "What's wrong?" "Brother's collar," Tianhai Juliuli said, reaching out to help him turn the collar outwards. Sakakibara subconsciously wanted to avoid it, but looking at the delicate face of Amamai Kuruori approaching, he suddenly had the idea of not wanting to avoid it. She put her hand up and pulled the collar inwards along her neck. Her movements were very gentle, and her slender fingers lightly touched the skin on his neck, bringing a little cool touch. Her careful look and bright eyes make people inadvertently think she is cute. If you fall in love with a girl like Julie Yulai, you should be very happy. Sakakibara couldn't help but think to himself. All right. However, being able to fall in love is a blessing in itself, let alone falling in love with a beautiful girl like Julie Yulai who is so glamorous and unique in temperament. Sakakibara thought that he had never been in love once in his entire life. It's not just that the mother was single, it was simply that the second child was single. How about trying to accept it yourself next time you receive a confession letter? But what if my girlfriend is not so beautiful, has a bad personality, or is not so suitable? He's not the kind of person who cares about looks, but what boy doesn't like beautiful girls? In my previous life, I saw some netizens showing off their sisters, girlfriends, etc. in the group. It would be false to say that there was no envy. Sakakibara Raku was pulled to the mirror by Matamami Kururi. Brother, what do you think of this jacket? Raku Sakakihara turned sideways, wearing a plain jacket and a brown polo shirt. When exercising, it has a quite fresh feeling, and it is perfectly fine for daily wear. Very good. Then it's packed. But is it okay to buy such expensive clothes? Sakakibara looked at the price of the tag before, and now the brown polo shirt he is wearing is 23,000 yen. Jacket, 31,000 yen. Not expensive? It's extremely expensive. He has never worn clothes worth more than 5,000 yen in his life. The most extravagant thing he has ever done in his life is to buy the latest Apple mobile phone in a moment of excitement. This was still the case when his 5th generation Apple was broken after several years of use. It's okay, brother, don't worry about it, and I said it's a gift. Why don't you buy something better? The fabric of this brand of clothes is also good, so it's not a loss. Tianhai Julie Yulai greeted the clerk and motioned for her to come over. What Sakakihara Raku didn't expect was that Juriuri would actually bargain. The total price of more than 50,000 yuan was reduced to 40,000 yuan. The clerk kept repeating with a look of embarrassment, "Guest, we really can't lower the price anymore, we really can't lower the price anymore." Picking up the canvas bag, the two left the clothing store. The tag prices of most brands will be quite a premium. Deliberately harvesting customers. Right. Then the reputation of this store will not be reduced? In Japan, integrity is very important in this industry. Most middle-class families won't ask. In fact, when buying clothes, you just need to be bold and ask a few times. I passed several women's clothing stores. Let's go, brother, let's go over there and have a look. Want to buy again? I said I wanted to buy a set, but I still haven't bought pants and shoes. The pants from that store just now don't look very good to me, Tianhai Julie Yulai said. By the way, what are the clothes that Brother Chien usually wears? Black clothes, black pants, shoes, whatever suits your eyes. Sakakihara Raku is too lazy to learn how to dress, so just buy black, which is resistant to stains. Besides, just wear school uniforms on weekdays and casual clothes on weekends. Tianhai Julie Yulai smiled and said, "It's a very classic boy's habit of buying clothes." Kuruori's smile seemed quite heartwarming to Sakakihara Raku. "Would you like to buy some for Chi Minjiu and Aling?" "Okay, brother, let's go quickly. There are still many houses to visit." "Oh okay. Sakakihara Raku was led by Amamai Kuriyuri to another clothing store. Before today, he never expected that the first girl of his own age to buy clothes with him would be Julie Yulai. As for Sakakihara Suzu, She is so lazy that she never goes out at all. Ah, buying clothes? I'll find some pictures of some styles online and send them to you. Brother, just help me go to the flagship store to buy them. You know what size I wear. I visited several stores in a row and bought another pair of pants and 2 pairs of shorts. I said I was buying them for them all, but in fact I bought them all for myself. Wait a minute, we seem to be back here again. Sakakihara suddenly stopped and quickly saw the short-haired girl standing upright in front of her. This familiar appearance is definitely Sakakihara Suzu. Isn't that, Suzu-chan? Tianhai Yulai also noticed her in front of her. Why is she here? Let's go there. Sakakibara was not going to try to figure out why his own sister was here and was still communicating with 2 other women who seemed to be unknown to her. He could just go and ask her. Sakakihara Suzu sighed. She faced now Yoshihara, finally relieved of her worries. Fortunately, the seniors didn't discover it. If seniors find out. Suzuki, huh? Miss Yoshihara and Yuto Senpai are also there? I thought. Directly opposite, Raku Sakakihara came over carrying Amamai Kurayuri in a canvas bag. Sakakihara Suzu's pupils dilated instantly, and before she could breathe a sigh of relief, she almost shouted. Stinky brother, why are you here? Just now, weren't you in front buying clothes with Julie Yulai? But she couldn't do that, nor could she shout. In front of the 2 seniors, she must maintain her external image. You must remain reserved. She thought to herself, it's okay, it's absolutely okay, Aling. Sakakibara-kun, did I remember correctly? Yuto Yisame smiled happily. What a coincidence. What? Sakakihara-kun, Miss Yoshihara was quite surprised, but when she turned around and saw the girl beside him, she was not so happy. This is. It happens. Sakakihara Rakia smiled and politely replied. Now Yoshihara began to observe the girl standing next to him. She has light blue eyes, flaxen hair, elegant figure, delicate and bright face, and looks like the eldest lady of a certain plutocratic family. Beautiful beauty. She was still wearing the Western-style school uniform from Mingde Elementary School, which consisted of a bow tie, a suit jacket, and a brown skirt. Just for a moment, an idea emerged in now Yoshihara's heart. Is this Sakakibara-kun's little girlfriend? Sakakibara's little brother was holding a canvas bag from Champion. She knew that this was a brand that mainly sells couples shirts for young people. She had seen it frequently when she came here often. Wearing school uniforms, we just came out of a clothing store selling couples shirts and were walking shopping together. 80% of the relationship is between boyfriend and girlfriend. Now Yoshihara made a decision in her heart, but was still a little disappointed. What? These days, I have been thinking about chatting with little brother Sakakibara for a while, but now I have no chance. As the daughter of a ward counselor, now Yoshihara, who often visited various places since she was a child, is still very discerning. She knows that the temperament of Sakakibara-kun's little girlfriend in front of her, this is not a stance that ordinary families can cultivate. It is natural. Exposed temperament. Speaking of which, when I first met Suzu-chan, I thought she was very elegant. Why is little brother Sakakibara surrounded by beautiful little girls? After saying a simple hello, Sakakibara Raku first asked Sakakibara Suzu, Azuzu, you didn't go home? No, Sakakibara Suzu showed a beautiful smile, with a hint of disobedience hidden under the smile. I just came out to go shopping in Ginza and buy 2 pieces of clothes, but I didn't expect that my brother and Juliuli were also shopping, haha. Yuto Yigo asked doubtfully, no, you go to the same school, right? Since you both go out to buy clothes, why don't we make an appointment together? Suzu Sakakihara explained, my brother has club activities, which take a long time, so I came by myself first. etc. Miss Yoshihara, who had been thinking, thought of something again. If little brother Sakakibara and his little girlfriend are here, Suzu-chan was peeking at something just now. I'm afraid that's not the case. I'm here to catch an adulterer. My sister was a little unhappy when she saw her brother and his girlfriend going out on a date, so she followed them secretly. Ahem. Thinking of this, Ms. Yoshihara's little fangs showed up again. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. Suzu-chan, you are really a brother controller. Ask her later when you are alone with Suzu-chan to see how she reacts. Embarrassed or shy? Will it be the same as it was in the studio? Yabai, Suzu-chan is so cute like that. Miss Yoshihara retracted her thoughts and asked, Sakakihara-kun, is the person next to you your new girlfriend? Girlfriend? No. No, Miss Yoshihara was very surprised. Was her guess wrong? However, they all went shopping together to buy clothes, and they were classmates, so they should not be far from their girlfriends. It's just that I haven't agreed yet. Little girls are a little reserved, she understands that. New acquaintance. Ms. Yoshihara talks about herself as a scumbag who plays tricks on little girls, but she has been single all her life. I happened to want to fall in love, but it was that girl Suzu Sakakihara who showed up. What a nightmare. Sakakibara explained, her name is Amamai Kururi, she is my sister. Kururi, this is Miss Yoshihara and Miss Yuto, they are both seniors in ALU's office. A voice actor. Yes. Wait a minute. Sakakibara-kun, what's going on with my sister? Ms. Yoshihara was a bit confused. One Sakakibara and the other Amamai, how could they become brother and sister? Combined family. Combined family. It turns out that's what it is. I understand. Tianhai Yuli then nodded politely and said hello to the two seniors. Miss Yoshihara returned to her normal state and asked with a smile, Ruri-chan should be a little older, right? It needs to be bigger, Tianhai Yuli replied. So, Suzu-chan is still Yuli's sister. Sakakihara Suzu noticed that Miss Yoshihara was asking herself, and nodded, forget it, guess it? Well, since we happen to be together like this, how about we go shopping together? Sakakihara-kun came out to buy clothes, right? Yes, Sakakibara-raku didn't have any objections to going to the mall together. The main thing was Yuli. After all, she was the one who invited him out. He glanced at Yuli beside him. Amamai Kururi secretly lowered his voice, it doesn't matter, I'll just help Sakakibara-kun pick out some more clothes alone. That's no problem. Ms. Yoshihara clapped her hands together and said, let's go shopping in a clothing store. Speaking of which, I haven't shopped for men's clothing yet, so I just want to go take a look. Now Yoshihara smiled, but she was thinking in her heart. I must ask Aling about it later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 49. Even though they were shopping together, those few people still dominated the group. Amamai Kururi and Miss Yuto were picking out clothes in front of them, and Sakakihara-raku, as an existing model, had to accompany them to try on them one by one. Yoshihara now and Sakakihara Suzu were sitting in the rest area of the store, eating the free refreshments provided by the store staff. While drinking tea, Yoshihara now found that Sakakihara Suzu would deliberately avoid the people choosing clothes over there. It seems like Suzu-chan, you and Ruri-chan haven't known each other for a long time, right? Well, it's not too long. Just now, I noticed that you were secretly looking at your brother. No, Sakakihara Suzu shook her head while sitting upright. Ms. Yoshihara was not in a hurry. Some things had to be guided slowly. She picked up the teacup, took a sip of the hot tea, and then asked, "Speaking of which, I didn't know that Suzuki-san had an older brother not long ago. How about you? It seems like you are hiding him on purpose." "No, it's just that my brother doesn't come to the office often. Ling-jang, when I came to the company when it rained that day, I saw that your brother's shoulders were wet, and he was very serious about your work. After the recording ended that day, he asked me a lot about you. I think your brother should care about you very much." Perhaps it was a painful point in her heart. When Sakakihara Suzu heard this, she rubbed the teacup in her hand with both hands. She looked into her own purple eyes in the light reflection of the tea, and then nodded gently. "In your mind, Suzu-chan, what do you think of your brother?" "It's okay." "Is it just okay?" "I don't know either." Miss Yoshihara clearly saw the hesitation in Sakakihara Suzu's eyes, and said with a smile, "You don't like your brother, do you?" "No," Sakakihara Suzu answered quickly this time and raised her head suddenly. "Ling-chan seems to have misunderstood something. I mean the relationship between brother and sister." "He is my brother. Well, as the only daughter of the Yoshihara family, I have always been envious of people who have older brothers. Suzu-chan secretly told me, did your older brother carry you on your back when you were a child?" Seeing Yoshihara-senpai's smile, Sakakihara Suzu, who had always been reserved and confident outside, remembered those things from her childhood, and her face turned a little red. "Of course there is, of course," Sakakihara Suzu replied in a softer voice. Yes, that's the expression. Suzu-chan is so cute. So, Sakakibara-kun has been very loving since he was a child. He must be a good brother. My sister really envies Suzu-chan. Has Suzu-chan ever been in love?" "No." Sakakihara Suzu shook her head lightly. "Do you think your brother is handsome?" "The ugliest." Sakakihara Suzu cursed in her heart, but she couldn't say this in front of her seniors. "Brother is quite handsome." "Right." Although Sakakibara-kun is not a top-notch handsome guy, he still has the temperament. How should I put it, he feels very comfortable. My brother is a member of the archery club at school and is very powerful. Learning archery. No wonder. Yoshihara now first used chat to get closer to Sakakibara Suzu, and occasionally interspersed a sentence about her impression of Sakakibara-kun. Until Sakakihara Suzu completely relaxed her vigilance, Yoshihara now hooked her teeth and suddenly interspersed a sentence between normal topics. "Suzuki-chan, do you like Sakakibara-kun?" "No, brother is just an older brother, but there is still love between brother and sister." Sakakihara Suzu's millisecond response made Ms. Yoshihara pause for a moment. "It seems that I have been prepared for it." Next, Ms. Yoshihara relaxed and tried to guide again, but Suzu Sakakihara became wary and could answer any questions without leakage. They show the feeling of ordinary siblings. "Suzu-chan, it seems like she really isn't a brother controller? It's just because of what happened when I was a child that I have a little respect for Sakakibara-kun." Miss Yoshihara somewhat believed in this answer, but she always felt that something was wrong. Sakakibara Suzu smiled on her face, but she was screaming in her heart. "Yoshihara-senpai! Stop asking! Stop asking!" At this time, several people also bought clothes and walked towards the two people sitting in the rest area to rest. "Have you bought it yet?" "Well," Yudoye-same said with a smile while squeezing Sakakibara Raku's shoulders behind him, "originally I said I would only buy 2 sets, but I feel that there are a lot of good clothes in this store, and Ruri-chan also completely agrees, so, just bought a little more." "How many sets did you buy?" now Yoshihara asked. 5 sets. Including sportswear and various casual clothes. I also bought shoes. Xiao Liuli paid all the money. Sakakibara sighed, "I already told you that you don't need to buy so many." Ruri-chan really cares about my brother. It's nothing. Tianhai Julie showed a smile that didn't make anyone feel lonely at all. So Sakakibara-kun is also very happy. Sakakihara smiled and said, after all, I bought so many things, and I didn't spend a penny to say that I was unhappy. It seems inappropriate. Ha ha ha, Sakakibara-kun still has a sense of humor. Stinky brother. Sakakibara Suzu glanced at Sakakibara Raku, who was standing next to Amamai Kuruori with a smile on her face, and the uncomfortable feeling at the beginning resurfaced in her mind. Downstairs in a shopping mall where there were many pedestrians, the three of them said goodbye to their two seniors and took the subway home. Since she was following behind, Sakakihara Suzu watched the two of them get on the subway first. By coincidence, there were one empty seat and two empty seats on both sides of the subway. Sakakihara Suzu thought that Sakakibara Raku would sit directly with Amamai Kurayuri. Unexpectedly, after Sakakibara Raku and Amamai Kurayuri said a few words, they deliberately waited. Got her. What? How about you and Julie Yulai sit together? Why? Sakakibara looked at his younger sister's eyes for a while, then said, Azu, you don't seem very happy recently. In the past, you would have said indifferently, okay. Sakakihara Suzu was speechless for a moment, then turned her head away, remained silent for a while, lowered her head and muttered, I'm a little unhappy. Because of Julie Yulai and Kaimingyu. Of course they came to my house suddenly. Not only did you not resist them, but you also cooked for them every day. Sakakibara raised his eyebrows, are you jealous? Who? Who would be jealous of you? Don't react so violently, Aling. Yes, Suzu. Sakakihara, who was holding the subway ring, lowered her head again. Here, take this. Sakakihara Suzu glanced sideways at the two canvas bags he handed over, then raised her eyes and asked him, what are these? Clothes, I bought them specially for you. Didn't Julia buy you clothes? Why buy them for me? She bought me clothes, but it doesn't affect my buying clothes for you. Take them, the coat and your shoes. Sakakihara Suzu looked down at the two white canvas bags again. The clothes I bought must be ugly. She muttered, but still took the canvas bag he handed her in her hand and held it tightly. The subway swayed as it moved, and the two bags in my hands swayed slightly. As the subway arrived at the station, many passengers got on and off to change trains. Elder brother. How? Didn't we agree that we are on the same front? Their surname is Tianhai and our surname is Sakakibara. I know, but we are a family now, and we shouldn't divide these things. Sakakihara looked at her, do you hate Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiu? I'm not really annoying, I just feel uncomfortable. I seem to see them everywhere. Brother, you not only cook for them, but also talk and laugh with them. She rarely smiled when she talked to me. After thinking about this sentence, Sakakihara Suzu didn't say it after all. Bell Sakakihara Raku's eyes were fixed on the flashing darkness outside the subway window. Do you know why I care about you so much? Because you are my brother. Yes, because I am your brother. I didn't care when you cried and fussed when you were a child. Even if you said something that you disliked me, I wouldn't care. Because I know you are the one who will look for your mother on my back. My sister is the sister who saw toys on the roadside and wanted me to buy them for you. Dad left when I was 5 years old. You were only 3 years old at that time. Not only did our family not have any savings, we also owed a lot of debt. Every time the debtors knocked on our door, I can feel that you are scared. You had nothing to hold on to, so you could only hold me. It was a very difficult time. It was all thanks to my mother to hold on, and I relied on poor relatives in my hometown to fight. Borrow money and pay it back little by little. I still remember that you really wanted to eat meat, but your family couldn't afford it, so I had to lie to you that the tofu I fried was meat. Haven't we all been through that? What are you talking about? What I want to say is, don't be too resistant when facing discomfort. Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiao are actually very good people. If you get along seriously, I believe you can become very good friends. Since mom has chosen to remarry Uncle Tianhai, we must respect them appropriately. Having said this, Sakakihara paused for a second and breathed a sigh of relief. Besides, Uncle Tianhai didn't treat us badly. He got an expensive house and gave us gifts. He didn't treat us badly in terms of pocket money. Although we basically don't need it now, it can be seen that he is I want to work hard to build a good relationship with us. Sakakihara Suzu, but this week, I haven't seen Uncle Emamai very often. My mother is too busy. Sakakibara Raku really has nothing to say about this. Usually, Tianhai Madayan rarely goes home in the afternoon, and when he does, he always wears a crisp suit. He is very kind to his family. He doesn't smoke or drink. He just likes to read newspapers and often wears a pair of glasses to read all afternoon. Raku Sakakibara also visited his study room at home. There was a table and a wall of books. On it were not only the laws of the country, but also the laws of other countries, and the texts used were not translated. Last weekend, he saw Uncle Tianhai working from home. His serious attitude made him subconsciously not want to disturb him. Being a successful person can make people feel pressured. Brother, do you think mom married Uncle Tianhai because of his status? It's probably more because of his knowledge. Uncle Tianhai is a top student from Dongda University. Dongda, then why does he fall in love with our mother? Sakakibara smiled and said, have you noticed that our mother always wears a pair of glasses no matter what? Is this true that she is studying? Yes, and have been for quite some time. What did she learn? I don't know, I didn't ask. Announcement, next stop, Platinum Takanawa Platinum Takanawa. Sakakibara Raku turned his head and glanced at Amamai Kuriyuri who was a little sleepy behind him, and said to Sakakibara Suzu beside him, call Kuriyuri up and get ready to get off. Elder brother. You're right, I shouldn't be willful. It's okay. Sometimes you are cute if you are more willful. Then I will try to get in touch with Julie Yulai and the others. This is a good thing. Then you won't be partial, will you? Of course I will. I will favor whoever is obedient. Smelly Lele. What? Stinky Lele. Sakakibara laughed and said, okay, you still have a lot of homework to do when you get home, so don't ask me to help you again then. You need to take care of it, Sakakihara Suzuki said with a face, also. I will go to the recording studio in the afternoon on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so don't disturb me if you have nothing to do. Yeah, I know. Although he knew that Sakakibara Raku was deliberately perfunctory, Sakakibara Suzu still looked angry. Stinky Lele, it must be Stinky Lele. In the living room, Amamai Nanamai was sitting on the sofa reading a book. She saw Sakakihara Suzu who was the first to enter and then locked herself in her bedroom. My sister also took my sister Chan shopping. No, we met by chance at the mall. As soon as Keek discovered that Julie Yulai had returned home, she immediately waggled her tail and ran up to her, barking excitedly at her. Sister took my brother to buy clothes, right? Yes. Tianhai Julie Yulai knelt down on his knees, smiled and touched Coco's head. That's it. Amamai Nanamai's delicate eyebrows stayed at Sakakibara Suzu's closed door for a few seconds. As soon as Sakakihara Suzu returned to her room, she lay directly on her bed. She looked at the ceiling and kept recalling what happened today. First, he mistakenly thought that Yoshihara Senpai had fished out Sakakibara Raku, and then he followed him out. However, he did not expect that it was Kururi who asked him out to buy clothes. It was obviously just a normal shopping for clothes, but Sakakibara Suzu felt a little irritated when she thought of Sakakibara Raku's appearance. In addition, Julie Yulai was holding her clothes and gesticulating in front of him. It was even more unpleasant to watch. Suzu Sakakihara looked a little irritated at the ceiling. She stood up and grabbed the headphones next to the computer, connected her phone, and then continued to lie on the bed listening to music. She scrolled through Twitter, where she had 6,000 or 7,000 followers. I wanted to look for something inside, but as I browsed, my mind remained blank. The scene in the flashback is always the way the smelly old man held an umbrella for himself and his shoulders got wet. When he was a child, he carried himself several kilometers to the hospital. Suzu Sakakihara turned off her phone, put it on her chest, grabbed the rabbit doll beside the bed, held its head and murmured, "Why are you so nice to me?" The rabbit doll always has a cute expression with narrowed eyes. Time passed slowly. Sakakihara Suzu lay down for a while, then quickly took off her headphones, stood up, found the 2 canvas bags, took out the clothes and shoes inside, and put them on. A casual jacket, a beige student sweater, a light-colored mini-skirt, and a pair of blue running shoes on the left and red on the right. Suzu Sakakihara looked at herself with short hair in the mirror, pinched her little face, and murmured, "Probably no worse than Julie Yulai and the others." But as soon as this thought came to her mind, she quickly shook her head and put aside these miscellaneous thoughts. No, how can I compare myself to the 2 of them? My biological sister is me. Thanks to I Am a Bird, Not a Chicken, Book Friend 20220616235401782, and Flower Seller for their rewards. Thank you all for your votes and support. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Yu Lan. Chapter 50. Get up quickly. No, let me sleep a little longer. Get up quickly. Brother, let me sleep a little longer. Then you sleep for another 15 minutes. I'll make breakfast and then call you. Don't go to bed late again and brush your teeth in a hurry. Yeah, I know. Click, the sound of the door closing. Sakakihara Suzu closed her eyes lazily and clamped the pillow in her arms tighter. I didn't know how long I slept. It seemed that I opened my eyes every now and then suddenly woke up. I grabbed my phone and looked at it for a second. What? It's only been 5 minutes. Glancing at the light transmitting gauze blown by the wind by the window, Suzu Sakakihara yawned and stretched. Aha, forget it, let's get up. The girl casually opened the quilt and found the earphones that had fallen into the corner of the bed. She stepped on the blanket with her bare feet and casually placed the headphones in front of the computer desk. Taking out her school uniform from the closet, Sakakibara Suzu took off her shorts and held the sides of her t-shirt with both hands. Etc. Just as she was about to take off her clothes, Sakakihara Suzu suddenly looked at the closed bedroom door. If she remembered correctly, Sakakibara just said that he would come to find her. There won't be anything happening later, I'm changing clothes, and then my brother suddenly opens the door and sees his cute angel sister changing clothes, right? Huh. Just thinking about it can give you goosebumps. Although my brother looks very serious on the surface. However, as a biological sister, Suzu Sakakihara saw her brother secretly looking at photos of beautiful legs more than once. At that time, she also laughed at her brother for being dishonest and actually looking at these pornographic things. What a shame. Sakakihara Suzu looked at the white legs under her body again. They should be quite long, right? Click, the door opened. What? Sakakihara Suzu was frightened and had a conditioned reaction, folding her arms on her shoulders. What else are you doing? I'm telling you to get up. The meal is almost ready. Sakakihara Raku glanced up and down at Sakakibara Suzu, who was standing by the closet preparing to change clothes. His gaze made Sakakihara Suzu panic. She covered her chest with one hand and her legs with the other, Her cheeks flushed. You are not allowed to look at anything. Sakakibara raised his eyes slightly, with a look of disgust on his face. You haven't taken off your clothes yet, why are you nervous? Besides, with your 3-inch figure, no one cares to look at it. Change your clothes and come out to eat quickly, I'll be waiting for you. With a clang, the bedroom door was pulled shut by him. 3-inch board. Sakakihara Suzu froze on the spot and blinked. Although I don't know what it means, I must be laughing at myself for having a flat chest, right? Stinky Lele. Which pot is not opened and lifted? It's not my fault that I don't grow up. Hateful. Sakakibara Suzuki changed into her school uniform with great enthusiasm, then went to the mirror with bare feet and pinched her waist. Obviously she has a perfect figure, okay. I am deliberately controlling my food intake. Stinky Lele just doesn't know how to appreciate it, yes, it doesn't know how to appreciate it. Fortunately, I was a little touched last night because he bought me clothes and shoes that I liked. Now that I think about it, it's totally not worth it. Putting on her slippers and putting her hand on the doorknob, Sakakibara Suzu, who was still a little angry, thought of what Sakakibara Raku said yesterday. Peace of mind. Yes, be calm. Alas, she doesn't know what's wrong with her. She's always angry lately. Sometimes I feel that my brother is very good, and sometimes I feel that he is very bad. Why hasn't this happened before? Sakakihara Suzu walked out of the bedroom in her school uniform, ready to start her daily wash. Morning. Morning, Suzu-chan. Well, good morning, Sister-chan. Ailing, wake up. Woke up. Uncle Tianhai. Well, good morning. Shijino Ryamamai and Miwa Sakakihara were also here this morning, a rare family dinner. Now there is a whole family, 6 people in total. To a certain extent, it is also a big family. Sakakibara saw Isuzu walk out after washing up and sit in the empty seat next to him. Ale, how are you getting along recently? Mrs. Sakakibara asked cordially. Very good. Sakakibara took a sip of black tea and glanced at the Amamai sisters opposite. Tianhai Juliuli was normal, but Tianhai Kaimingyu took advantage of the gap between her mother's gaze and blinked her left eye at her expressionlessly. What does this mean? However, it was quite a strange experience to watch 2 girls who looked exactly the same across from me eating the same meal. Like, double the joy. Haha, let me just say, Chi Minjiao and Juliuli are both good kids, and you will get along well with each other. What do you think of Aling? It's all good. Brother and sister Juliuli went to the shopping mall to buy me clothes. Sakakibara Miwa smiled and said, I'm busy these days, and the restaurant reservations have been scheduled for a few months. I accidentally left some room for you to get to know each other. However, seeing how harmonious your relationship is, it also proves that young people are more mature. It's easy to get to know each other. Because my mother was enlivening the atmosphere, and Tianhai Madayan was also kind enough to chat with me, today's breakfast was quite warm and smooth. Mom, let's go to school first. Mom, let's go. Goodbye, Aunt X2. Okay, take your time on the road, have a nice trip. Sakakihara Miwa, who was standing at the door, watched the backs of the 4 children disappear at the end of the corridor, with a happy smile on her face. Although a little hasty. But it can be considered a complete home. A complete home. Even if the heartless man suddenly changes his mind and comes back, I will never let him destroy the status quo. Miwa Sakakihara thought of the days when her 2 children ate a piece of tofu for dinner, and she always felt sorry for them. In the early morning at the school building, 2 dancing sparrows were chirping on the branches outside the window. Well, today we will continue to talk about gatherings. Tuk tuk. The math teacher's freehand writing wanders across the blackboard. Why is it called freehand brushwork? Because Sakakibara felt that the mathematics teacher's writing was quite artistic, for example, that X and that backtick were so sloppy that if you didn't look carefully, it was just a Y. Is this kind of artistic conception that looks like Y but not Y something that ordinary mathematics teachers can achieve? Not to mention other fonts. There are so many crooked kana in Japanese, and if you connect them with one stroke, you can't tell which one is a kanji. It would be better to teach Mandarin to the young female teacher, who is good at standard Chinese calligraphy. When the math teacher got out of class, Sakakibara planned to tell him about writing fonts, at least so that they, the new generation, could understand. Sakakibara. Sakakibara. Unexpectedly, Fujino Yoshiyuki at the front desk called out to him angrily and pulled him back to his seat. What, you and your girlfriend kissed and you couldn't help but show off? Raku Sakakihara glanced at the math teacher who was walking away. No, it's not that time yet. When I first came to school, I saw two Minister Tianhai. Two? You must be dazzled. Why am I lying to you? There are really two of them, and they walked into the teaching building together. I was watching from behind. Let me tell you, the return rate is infinitely close to 300%. Oh. 300% means that everyone will come back 3 times. Do you think Minister Tianhai has a twin sister or something? Maybe. This situation can only be explained in this way. After receiving the message on his phone, Sakakihara took it out and looked at it. It was actually sent to him by Isuzu. Why are you so listless, beautiful twin girls? Aren't you excited? Anyway, I have never seen it in reality in my life, but I have seen it today, Yoshiyuki Fujino almost screamed in panic. If his childhood sweetheart girlfriend found out, she would have to grab his ears and pull them up hard. Raku Sakakibara, it's useless to be excited. You also said that there is a relationship with the school director behind the person. She may be the eldest lady of some family. Is this a flower of high mountains that we can reach high? Right. Fujino Yoshiyuki was instantly struck to the core, and his aura weakened, but it doesn't matter, anyway, I have Zyotaki. She is quite cute, but she is in the school next door and can only be seen in the afternoon. You guy, your girlfriend is not a tool for comparison. Hee, no, I'm just admiring the beautiful girl, you know. Sakakibara shook his head. I'm going to use the bathroom. Okay. Walking into the corridor, Sakakibara took out his cell phone and found the message his sister had just sent him. Brother, what club should I join? You are so busy, why do you join a club? It's required by the school, there's no way around it. Is there any club that I can use to name myself and not participate in club activities? No, as far as I know, no, even in the game department, you have to go in and play games for more than an hour every day. What to do? I can't fail because I'm not up to standard in my department, and I'll have to repeat the grade. Rashi Sakakihara thought about it for 2 seconds and tapped the screen with his finger to reply. Juliuli is the director of our archery club, but we are a sports club, we have to show results, so we can't let you off the hook. You can go find Chi Minjiu, she should be able to do it. What club does Chi Minjiu belong to? In the literature department, she is the current director. What dot? Literary club. Suzu Sakakihara, who was in the bathroom holding her cell phone, looked embarrassed. Sakakihara Raku also knew about the scandal in the literature club, which was almost spreading throughout the school. He stood in the corridor and typed a reply. Don't worry, Chi Minjiu is not in charge of the previous literature department now, those people have all transferred to other schools. Oh, that's it? Brother, do you know that too? Who doesn't know? Okay, I went to the toilet. Wait a moment. Anything else? I can't tell Chi Minjiu about joining the club. You want me to help you? Hee, brother is the best. When you have something to do, call me brother, when you have nothing to do, I call you brother, you. Brother is the best. Love you. It was followed by a cute cat emoticon. Yep, just a little trick. But Sakakibara looked at the iPhone 13 in her hand, which she bought with money from work, and she really couldn't bear to blame her. There is no way, who calls her his sister? The guy who followed me and asked for lollipops since I was little. Sakakihara still liked the feeling of her hugging his arms and shouting, brother, I want to eat that, with a smile. I was an only child in my previous life. Now I have a biological sister, which can be regarded as a complete experience. During lunch, Nishijima Oi suddenly called him twice. Sakakibara, lend me your phone. What? Nothing, it's just that the mobile game I play has an event on Thursday, and I need to get 2 mobile phones to help my account get more rewards. That's okay. Sakakihara handed him his cell phone. It's the latest 13 Pro Max. When did you, Sakakibara, become so rich? Nishijima Oi pushed up the frame of his glasses and looked at the mobile phone he just bought with curiosity. Maybe it was a gift from a female netizen. Fujino smiled deliberately at the side. What kind of female netizen can give you a gift of more than 100,000 yen? You, Fujino, look down on money too much. You, Nishijima, are the least qualified to criticize me. I don't know who is spending hundreds of thousands of yen in mobile games. I have never even given such an expensive gift to my childhood sweetheart. Fujino put his forehead with his right hand, as if he had seen through the world. He shook his head sadly. The beautiful girls in the two-dimensional mobile games are all tools used by capitalists to defraud people. How can you not understand, Nishideo? Why don't you really get a girlfriend? A beautiful girl can be cute. Can a girlfriend? Why not? I will only let you buy expensive lipsticks and cosmetics. Then I will dump you decisively and brag to my next boyfriend how easy it is to cheat with your money. You. Damn it. Nishijima, you are completely hopeless. Sakakibara Rakia ate silently between the two of them. This was the war between Amitsu and Otaku. After class ended in the 4th period in the morning, Sakakibara stood up after lunch and prepared to walk to the club building. At present, he only has Julie Yuli's contact information, and has not asked for Chi Minjio's, so he can only go to the club first to see if she is there. Strolling through the shaded student corridor, he went to the literature department entrance according to his previous memories, knocked on the door twice, and only walked in after being told to come in. In addition to Chi Minjio, who was sitting on the desk next to the balcony eating a lunch, there was another person inside. 84, 61, 87. No, it's a quiet girl named Xiaolin Zio. Sakakihara Raku quickly shook off the thoughts that Fujino and Nishijima had instilled in him. It's you. Are you here to join the club? Xiaolin Zio obviously knew him, and her eyes were full of light as to whether he came here because he wanted to join the club. Sakakihara Raku felt that rejecting her was a sin. But unfortunately, he is such a heartless person. No. Xiaolin Zio's hope was dashed. Well, not many people have come to join the club recently. The only promising boy was chased away by Minister Tianhai. It's definitely that guy from Nishijima who wants to join the literature club and befriend the girl in front of him. Sakakibara looked at Amami Nanamajetsu, who was wearing gold-rimmed glasses and elegantly flipping through a book while eating quietly. I just made what I thought was the right decision. That boy was plotting against you, just like the person standing at the door came to the literature department for the first time. The minister always says this, but if we don't recruit a third person this week, we will be relegated to a club. It doesn't matter. Isn't this someone here now? Sakakibara Raku always felt like he was being seen through by Nanami Mingzuki. Tianhai Chi Minjio put the bookmark inside the book cover, closed the book, and looked at him with the transparent gold frame like cicada wings. Brother suddenly came to Chi Minjio, it means that he has something to ask for. Brother, brother, Xiaolin Ziya covered her mouth in surprise, her small eyes curiously looking at the relationship between the two. Sakakihara nodded and said straight to the point, well, Suzu needs a club to name her name. Sister Chan can actually tell me about this by herself. She's a little shy. Sister Chan is actually afraid of me, because Chi Minjiao is a little more difficult to get along with than my sister Tianhai. Chi Minjiao returned his gaze. She continued to eat potato chips and fried rice quietly. Sakakibara saw the dim light outside the window illuminating her flaxen hair. That. Xiaolin Ziya weakly raised her hand, breaking the silence in the literature club. Can I ask a question? Sakakihara Raku, please tell me. Who is Sister Chan? Your sister, Minister Tianhai, and I are also students of this school, freshmen in high school. Does she want to join the literature club? Let's put it this way. In society, she has her own job. She often goes to work as soon as school is over. She doesn't have much time, so she wants to find a club that she can name her name in to fill in the semester work. Of course, she is free. If so, I will still come to the club to sit in. So that's it, Xiaolin Ziya understood, okay. Anyway, no one from the literature department has joined now. It's just me and Minister Tianhai. One more person is of course a good thing. But the matter of joining the club still requires Minister Tianhai's nod. Just agree. Sakakibara looked at Nanamai again. I have no objection. I can agree to the Sister Chan thing. Thank you. Brother, you're welcome. I have another question. Can my Sister Chan write manuscripts? She definitely won't, Sakakibara said. As a member of the literature club, you must participate in club activities. Although Chi Minjiao really wants to help my sister, the Academic Affairs Office has to check and accept the results. Sakakibara Raku, does that mean you have to write a manuscript? Well, for the January issue, we publish it jointly with people from the Department of Journalism, so we need to contact them there as well. Xiaolin Ziya, I can do these jobs. What about the manuscript for each person? At this point, Sakakibara Raku still didn't understand what Chi Minjiao meant. I'll help her write it. Brother, remember to come to the literature department every afternoon. I will explain the situation to my sister. Before leaving, Sakakibara took another look at the club classroom, which was full of books, and Amamai Nanamajetsu, who was sitting alone at a small table reading. The girl has a beautiful face and light hair. It was obviously a beautiful scene, but with this atmosphere, he always felt that something was wrong.